standing in the playground behind my school beside this enormous pile of leaves, and this tiny little hand comes out of the leaves with a silver metallic object in it. And the boy attached to the hand, he says, "Look, Mr. Dix, a spoon." And it's a spoon. It's an ordinary kitchen spoon, probably fell out of a lunchbox earlier that day or 10 years ago. But I say, "No, Jamie, that's the spoon of power. And now that I've declared it to be the spoon of power, I must have it because that is who I am." And Jamie knows this. I can see it on the look in his face. And he knows that I know it. And I know that he knows that I know it. And all of this is true because he's running before he says anything else. And the 74 kids that I'm supposed to be monitoring closely are lost to me. And the only thing I focus on is a little redheaded boy with a spoon that I must now have. And we run across the field and we climb up the slide and through the tubes, and 17 minutes later the bell rings and that little boy still has the spoon, and I can't believe it. But he's my student. We've got 2 hours left in the school day. He's a 5th grade kid. You know, he's a boy. He has the attention span of like an aging squirrel. He will forget about the spoon and I will get the spoon. So we're in class. I'm teaching math and I can't believe how brazen this kid is. He puts it on his desk, daring me to take it. He's got one eye on the equation, one eye on the spoon. I'm reading to the kids on a stool. It's still sitting there. He's like listening to me and watching the spoon. But I know what his downfall is going to be because at the end of the day we write, and Jamie loves to write. He's one of these kids that as he writes, his head slowly falls on his arm. And I just wait for it to happen. And as I watch his head go down, it's time for me to pounce. I sneak up the aisle. I reach over to grab it, and it's not there. He turns to me and says, "Did you really think I was going to leave it there?" And I turn to the girl next to him. I say, "Well, where's the spoon?" She says, "I don't know what you're talking about." I turn to the boy. "I don't know what." I threaten the whole class. "You're all getting like a year's of homework right now if I don't get the spoon." And then the bell rings. And Jamie's out of his seat. He's running to his locker. As he leaves the room, he stops at the library. He pulls out the S box of books, reaches in, takes out the spoon and says, "I filed it under S." And he's out the door. I've lost the spoon. I'm never going to see it again. The next day, he walks into the room and he has the spoon around his neck on a chain. And I say, "What?" And he says, "My father drilled the hole and my mom gave me the chain." And as terrible as I am, I know I can't rip a spoon off a kid's neck by the chain. So he just walks around with the spoon of power. Thursday comes. It's time for a math test, and Mackenzie has to lose her mind because this is what Mackenzie does. She might get a 99 instead of 100, and that would be the worst thing. So I have to calm down Mackenzie as I do every day. But then Jamie gets out of his seat, walks over to Mackenzie, takes the spoon off, and puts it on her neck. And for the first time in Mackenzie's life, she does not panic while taking a test. David's grandmother passes away. 3 days later, he comes back to school. Jamie is by the door. As he walks in, he drops a spoon around David's neck and says, "I think you need this today." For the rest of the school year, when a kid is being bullied, or they forget their homework and they have to deal with me, or they've got the wrong snack in their lunchbox, or they have to talk to the principal, Jamie puts the spoon around a kid's neck, and it does more for those kids than I could ever do. On the very last day of school, I gather my kids in a circle. I encourage them to talk to each other, say whatever you want to say. Jamie stands up and he walks to the front of the room. He takes the spoon off and tries to hand it to me. And I say, "No, Jamie, there was a day when I wanted that spoon very badly. But it's your spoon. You've earned it. You get to keep it." And Jamie says to me, "No." He says, "The magic of the spoon only works in my classroom." He says, "I have to take the spoon and give it to kids in the future who are going to need it." And then he pulls a chair up alongside me and he steps onto it and he drops the spoon around my neck. Last year was the hardest year in my 24 years of teaching that I have spent in a classroom, trapped between these lines of normal teaching in class every day with 23 kids and this pandemic, masked with grandparents dying and parents getting sick and classmates getting sick and their teacher getting sick. And I used that spoon more last year than I have used in all of the 15 years I have had this spoon around my neck. And thank you. And every teacher in this country ran through walls last year for kids. But I was the luckiest teacher in America last year, because 15 years ago, a little red-headed boy found this spoon on the playground, and somehow he put magic into this spoon. And I was the only teacher in America last year who got to take this spoon and put it around the necks of frightened children who wanted to spend their days in class with their friends, and somehow, miraculously, make their days better. Thank you.